Dan, why is this a big deal, an emotional deal? Explain to the rest of the country. Why is this a big deal in South Florida?
Well, given what the customer base is for the Marlins, given that they are right on Calle Ocho, a street with a Latin name, given that Ozzie Guillen was hired to be a Latin voice and face for a team that would represent Miami, this is the worst possible thing that Ozzie Guillen could have said. I can't think of anything else, given the customers, that would have been worse, because for Cuban Americans, he's our Hitler. And, you know, without getting into a comparison shopping on atrocities, just understand that. Let that marinate for a second. For Cuban Americans, Fidel Castro is our Hitler. So whenever there's an artist in South Florida, a musician, a comedian, a painter, anybody who is pro-Castro, that person can't perform in Miami. Nobody goes to those shows. There are very loud and influential and emotional Cubans who have had their childhood stolen, who have had relatives in prison, who have had family members on firing squads that disapprove of Fidel Castro. So this is the only city that you can't say that in, and it is the worst possible thing that Ozzie Guillen could have said, given who fills the seats of that stadium.
How has Marlins ownership handled it? How should they handle it?
Well, you got to let Ozzie speak for himself, because he's the Latin voice, and you've got ownership and management is white, and he's very contrite. He is shaken. He is nervous about this, and he should be. And you don't normally see Ozzie Guillen that way, and they're letting him be the voice on this so that people can see the genuine contrition, so they can see it's not scripted, that it's not management pulling puppet strings. Ozzie's really embarrassed by this, and he has decided to fly down back to Miami on his off day tomorrow to come down and apologize yet again, because his first apology, he says he hasn't slept in 3 days, and his first apology was just to a group of beat writers. That's not going to suffice. You've got very loud, very powerful, very influential Cubans who want him fired. And while I think that's extreme and I think that's an overreaction, I'm from a different generation of Cubans. My pain is borrowed. My parents are the ones who suffered, you know, being chased through the streets with police officers with chains. So my pain isn't their pain. That pain of the older generation of Cubans, it's loud, it's strong in Miami, and I hope they will be soothed by a contrite apology. They might not be.